So here we can see the cage that we built in action and working. So it took a couple of weeks for the fry to actually drop out here, but you can see all the fry are on the outside, and then all the adults, well not all, but 3 of the adults we put in are still on the inside there, and it allows the babies to be outside and graze and not, get eaten. So you can also do it where the adults are on the outside and the babies can rush to the inside for cover. But what makes this nice is I could literally pull this whole cage up out of the tank and drop it in the next tank and raise these babies in this tank, so it becomes modular, which is nice. So we're going to use the work table in the fish room because this is definitely a fish room project. I could use a studio and a controlled environment, but I'm showing you how I do this even when I'm actually doing it. So, you might hear some water filling in the background, lots of stuff's going on in the background, but this is the time when I would normally do this. This is the perfect project to be doing while you're waiting on something. So, some things we're going to need, you've seen this in other videos in the past, acrylic yarn. I use green. I figure algae's going to grow, but you want to use acrylic so it won't rot, so acrylic yarn. And here I've got, what do they call this thing? Let's see, they call it a plastic canvas made by Yarnology. I call it the bottom to my breeding trap. And this is what they do in commercial, in Thailand and things like that, where they're building these things. They use maybe some bigger ones, but this is the same concept they use when they're making, hundreds of thousands of guppies. And we're not going to do it on the same level. They tend to put 50 males and 250 females in a circle disc like this, or they put the males and the females on the outside and let the fry go in. But what we're going to do essentially is create a dome. We basically want to create a dome here. And what's going to happen is fry can go in and out of this as they wish. Adults won't be able to. So that's pretty helpful. If we put adults inside, like let's say we just have, a couple of pregnant females, or let's say we only have a trio of fish, a male and 2 female, you got them off Aquabid or whatever, they've been shipped in, and you want the fry to make it, you could put them inside and let fry go out, or we can attach some things on the outside and make it so fry want to hide inside. But all we really have to do is not net this up, but tie it up, and so I'm going to show you a couple things here. So this mesh that I'm using, if we put it in front of me, we can see that, you can relatively see me. This is mesh number 5, much bigger holes. Okay? Now, this here is mesh number 5. So the smaller the mesh, the smaller the holes. Can't see me nearly as well? Smaller holes. You're just going to have to take my word for it. They're definitely smaller when you compare the two. I want to say that this is like 1/8 of an inch and this is like 1/4 inch. Also, they come in varying stiffnesses. So, this one is ultra stiff, and we're actually going to use this one for a different project. So make sure you check out the video on how to make a breeder box, something like that for African cichlids. But this one, really stiff. It could stand up on its own. This one, very floppy, and definitely wouldn't stand up on its own. It's droopy. That being said, it's going to be really easy to turn into a circle. This one, while it could be done, not so much. Wants to fold. It's got a lot of spring to it. So, and for the bottom, apparently they only make this one in 7 mesh. Did I have that backwards? Let's see here. 7 mesh. So 5 mesh is the big one, 7. So the bigger the number, the smaller it is. The smaller the number, the larger the holes are. This comes in a 7 mesh as well. It's going to be the bottom, so it's mostly going to be sitting on the bottom, won't be as important, but if you were trying to keep very small fry in a cage, we'd want to use something with smaller holes. Like this isn't going to hold neon tetra fry or barbs and things like that, but typically you're not keeping those in the same tank anyway. Once you get a little larger, sure, you can keep in here, but this would work great for African cichlids and things like that where you're going to milk fry out. I've built these to use them with Cyprochromis and stuff like that before. So, you know, we'll show you that in another video, how to make the rectangular boxes and much bigger boxes. I've made them as big as this, where it literally is most of the tank, and we can show you how to do that too. But for now, I'm just going to talk as I work, and I will put the bits that seem important together in the video for you. So there'll be time lapses and kind of how it jumps around, but that way you'll spend the least amount of time watching and getting the most useful information possible. So, I got some needles, and these big plastic ones are meant to be used, well, I don't know what they're meant to be used for. I think this 5 mesh. That being said, these smaller metal ones are meant to, they even say, for use with 7-point mesh plastic canvas. So, when I do this, when I make the circle out of this one, I'm going to use this bigger needle just because I can, and it's green, so why not? So I've got me a needle. You've seen this on other videos. Grab a piece of yarn here, and we're just going to thread this through. Make sure you leave a tail on it so when you're pulling it through it doesn't just unravel. But the reality is, all we're going to do is mate up these two sides for this part. Shouldn't be too difficult. And I'm going to see what works easy. If a zigzag works easy, I'm going to do that. If something else is easier, I don't know yet. I've never made one of these round ones yet. I had to buy, well, I've seen it done before, and I bought an expensive book that kind of made me want to do it again. But yeah, I've seen these used, never made one before that's round. I've made them in squares. So, to make this easier, I'm going to use some binder clips. I think I got these at the dollar store or Staples. I don't even know. But this is going to kind of hold it together for me as I'm trying to pull this off, which should make it a little easier, I think. So right now, trying to keep it together and sew it together has not proven to be the easiest. So, back to work here. So as we get further and further down the row here, it's holding its shape more and more, which is making it easier. So that's nice. Alright, so once you get to the end, we need to tie it off. Someone out there, I'm sure, knows some crazy good fisherman's knot or something like that to tie this thing off. I don't. I just make a bunch of knots. It's only got to hold back some guppies or swordtails or platies. We're not holding back Oscars or, you know, bears or anything. So, all right, to make this an extra good spawning cave thingy, you want to put some things to attract fry to it or protect fry should they leave it. And that's where we thread a little bit of yarn here. There we go. And we're just going to stick it through at random places. And the goal is just to get one side of the yarn through and then come back like right above it. Now the goal is we're just going to tie a knot. And now this becomes strings. It's like making a spawning mop on the outside. And you might say, well, not very much cover yet. Yeah, exactly. So if you spend a lot of time and make a lot of strings, this is going to be a lot of cover. And it can be pretty darn cool. So we could also just make a spawning mop. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that done, but here's how you would do it. You would normally just run it around a book or something like that over and over and over and over and over again, which we'll do that here. Let's say that's enough. We're going to cut it. And then while it's still around what we wrapped around, whether it's a book or I'm using this binder clip package, we're going to tie a knot. So now, what we have is something that's useless. Oh, good. But we just cut the bottom. And now, gotta tie my knot a little tighter here. Now we have a spawning mob. Look at that. If this is hanging down, fish go, ooh, I'd want to be spawning in there. Now we can just attach this straight to our cage that we've made. So it turns out this is slightly buoyant in the water. So I've cut down the bigger circle we had to a smaller circle. I just kind of lined it up and gonna call it close enough. Now I've got to sew this onto the bottom of this thing so that way I can put some gravel on the bottom of it and it'll stay sunk for me. Who would have thought? So that's what I'm doing. All right, so I essentially have a bottom now. Yay! Let me just tie this off here. So here we go, we've got it installed in the tank here. This is just a 20 gallon. You want the top of it to come out of the water so that the fry or the parents, whichever one, can't just go between the two. You can see we've got some female guppies in there. These are the full red super deltas. We've got 3 of them in there. And when you initially put the mops in, they're going to float. And that's just because they have a lot of air in them. But yeah, as you can see there, we've got gravel on the bottom. They're looking for a way out, but there's no way out. And they can live there, and all the fry are going to be able to come out and, you know, just do their thing. So yes, I could lower the water level a little more if I was worried about them jumping. If that becomes an issue, I'll either build it taller or I will lower the water level a little more. But yeah. Well, thanks for watching. If you found this video on how to make this breeding trap helpful, go ahead and give it a like. Share it with your friends. Not a lot of people know how to make this. And subscribe to our channel so you can watch our other videos. We've got how I built the fish room on Thursdays. We've got me and Lamont talking real fish talk on Sundays, Quick Tip Tuesdays. And if you're watching this, it'd be a Friday, so that's when we show you how to do things. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.